Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here, as always, at the News Forum, where all voices matter. The country faces many challenges, and not the least of which is our low ranking when it comes to economic competitiveness. Plus, the federal budget is out. Let's get to the point of view of the Conservative Party, courtesy of Member of Parliament Rick Perkins. He represents South Shore St. Margaret's in Nova Scotia and is the Shadow Minister for Innovation, Science and Industry. Welcome back to Boom and Bust.
Great to be here, Tony.
Great to have you, as always. Obviously, as a result of this federal budget, we are reminded yet again that the federal Liberals spend a lot of money, yet productivity and competitiveness seem to be declining in this country. Tell us a little bit about what's going on from your perspective.
Well, maybe we'll come back to the spending because, obviously the Liberals win a gold medal for spending, but they have produced now 9 budgets in a row that are deficit-laden. They've added an enormous amount to our debt. This 5-year plan adds another $156 billion to our national debt, taking our national debt at the end of the 5-year framework at an estimated $1.4 trillion. It's an astounding number. But more importantly, in addition to that, that's producing debt interest payments at the end of the 5 years of over $60 billion. That's twice what we spend on national defense. And it's more than what we transfer the provinces for healthcare, just on the debt, which 800 billion plus has been produced by this government. It's insanity, and we're not more productive. We rank last in the OECD and are projected, if we continue on this path, to be the least productive country in the OECD for the next 40 years. And well, that's a statistic, and it's the alphabet soup of acronyms. That means that our people it's costing them more to live. Their paychecks are not worth what they once were. And in fact, in 8 years, the gap between us and the United States on productivity and the power of your dollar that you get has declined by almost 40%. I mean, that hasn't happened because of some great global crisis somewhere that the Trudeau Liberals always like to blame others. The dog ate my homework approach. It's not my fault that I've spent more money than all other prime ministers combined. It's directly contributed to this gap and policies that don't work. We are one of the lowest in the industrialized world in registering for patents at the World Patent Treaty Organization. We register pretty much about 30,000 patents a year. China registers about 300,000 patents a year. They're the number one in the world. Wow. And that's producing a more productive economy in intellectual property development. If you want to develop your economy, Tony, I know as a former industry minister, you got to own what you create, and then you've got to reinvent that time and time again and find new applications. And our economy simply isn't doing it. We've simply got too much debt. The world doesn't buy what we make anymore in any significant numbers. And as a small country with 40 million people, we need the world to buy what we make. And we have an oligopolistic, federally regulated services economy, telecom, banking, airlines. And all of those things mean we pay too much for everything and we export too little.
And all of this impacts on the consumer, the Canadian citizen, the Canadian taxpayer, because no value for money and tougher to make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why everyone's saying, how come it costs me so much to live? Well, the price of everything is going up faster than the paychecks. That's not the case in the U.S. The U.S. economy is growing at 5% a year. We're barely staying out of recession. We're hovering around zero in growth. And in fact, our productivity, we've had 7 quarters in a row of decline under this government, which means that our productivity is now back to what it was in 2014. Well, the cost of everything has gone up in 10 years. The productivity, what our dollar produces, has actually declined back to what it was 10 years ago under the Liberals.
We're going to continue our conversation with Rick Perkins. He's the Member of Parliament for South Shore St. Margaret's in beautiful Nova Scotia. He's also the Innovation, Science and Industry Shadow Minister in the opposition. Rick will be back with you after these messages.